The biggest piece of advice I could probably give is whether you think you can or you can't, you're absolutely right.
To say no mountain is high enough for Sean Swarner is a colossal understatement.
So you did the hardest hike first?
Yeah, well, I figured if I climbed Everest first, the rest would be downhill.
He was the first cancer survivor to stand on top of the world in 2002.
For me, on the top of Everest, I visualized myself every night for a year standing on top of the mountain.
Wow.
He was high on the feeling, so he kept climbing.
I went up and down Long's Peak once a week with 100 pounds of rocks in my backpack to train.
North America, Europe, Asia, Africa, South America, Australia, and Antarctica. Sean climbed the highest mountain on every continent. Then he skied to both the South and North Poles.
I completed the Explorers Grand Slam, which I think sounds like a Denny's breakfast platter.
He did it all with humor, a warrior spirit, and one functioning lung. To understand why Sean climbs, you have to know his backstory and the odds that he was up against.
I was 13. And I remember going out for a layup in basketball and came down, and I can still hear the sound of my knee snapping. It was kind of like, you know, your Thanksgiving dinner and you're just kind of tearing into the tendons.
That injury sent him to the hospital where doctors diagnosed him with advanced stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma.
And that time around, they gave me 3 months to live.
3 years, not months. Later, he went in for a checkup, and doctors found a second terminal cancer.
The chances of me surviving both of those illnesses is equivalent to winning the lottery 4 times in a row with the same numbers. So if you have 100 people with that cancer, 94 die.
At 16, Sean was once again fighting for his life. As a high schooler, he was going to treatments and dealing with the heartbreaking side effects.
I went into the shower and I was washing my head, and every time I brought my hands down, they were just covered in hair. And I collapsed to the shower floor. I was 60 pounds overweight, bald from head to toe, pulling chunks of hair out of the drain, crying my eyeballs out.
In that same moment, he changed his mindset.
That I decided that I didn't want to focus on not dying, I wanted to focus on living.
Sean decided to climb.
Discovered that no survivor had ever climbed Everest before. I was like, all right, well, I want to use that as the highest platform in the world to give people hope.
He founded the nonprofit Cancer Climbers Association.
We take a survivor every year on Kilimanjaro.
Thank you, Cancer Climbers.
The chance of a lifetime. Completely free of cost.
And I've seen what the trip does to people. We get to the top, everyone's in tears. I mean, it's so emotional. And somebody backs up and they say, thank you for getting me here. And I instantly look at them and say, I didn't do anything to get you here. You got here yourself. And I think it's that empowering moment that really changes their lives.
On the journey to the summit, Sean brings his inspiration.
The biggest thing that we have, figuratively and literally, is a flag.
With thousands and thousands of names. Some he wrote by hand.
So these aren't just names, these are people, right? And I see these as inspiration. There we go.
A flag he leaves at every summit he achieves to encourage others to look at their struggles in a different way.
I hope a lot of people see, if they're survivors, like yourself, if you look back at it, don't be tethered to the cancer. See it as a good thing and see it as making you stronger.